my name is Philip Cochran. I'm the president of Fraternal Order of Police at Evergreen Lodge 1 in Silverdale, Washington. Policemen, cops, their actual job is that of being peacemakers. And the way that they perform their job is through protecting and serving the public. They protect the public through supporting the Constitution and through legislation action that creates laws. And the Fraternal Order of Police has the saying, law is a safeguard of freedom. And so it's important that we have the police to protect laws and to carry out the laws and enforce them. The services that police provide are manyfold. One particular one this day and age with all the situations going on is we're promoting our outreach program where we have a website set up and we have outreach programs concerned with mental health, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, domestic violence, anger management. Whatever the problems are out there, there's websites with people that are trained and people that are professional that are there to help. And this resource is available through our FOP Evergreen Lodge.org. And anyone can go there and they can look it up and find what they need. And it's just one of the ways that we serve people, and there's a lot of ways, and we'll be talking about them as we go on down the road. Not today maybe, but at future shows. Today's show is entitled Interview with the State of Washington FOP President. And with that, I'm going to introduce you to Marco. And since I'm terrible at names, I'm going to let him tell you his last name. It's not that hard, but for me, I don't want to mess it up. I have too much respect for the man. So, Marco, what's your last name?
Last name is Monteblanco. I appreciate you inviting me to be on the show today.
Well, we appreciate you coming. So, tell us a little about yourself, Marco.
So, I'm a cop, an active duty cop out of Kennewick, Washington. Been a cop for about 20 years now. And, it's a dream come true when I became a cop. It was something I've always wanted to be. When I grew up in Portland, my father actually immigrated to the United States when he was a young adult, and growing up in Portland, just seeing how this country is built and how the freedoms that he had now before which he didn't have prior, was something that he instilled in me is such an important piece of the way we run our country. And he instilled a hard work ethic in me, and he loved public service. He encouraged me to go into public service. And what better way to go into public service than being a police officer?
I agree with you completely. We've got kind of similar backgrounds. My parents were born in the United States, but my grandparents all came over. And the same ethics, the same work, and the same being proud of our country. I know I couldn't wait originally get to enlist in the service because I thought, what a great life I would have here in the United States, and I need to pay back my country for giving me this life. And you sound like you come from the same cloth.
Absolutely.
So you're the president of the state Fraternal Order of Police. You want to talk a little bit about the state lodge?
Yeah, so I became involved, which is kind of unique with the Fraternal Order of Police. My story is something that has always been touching to me because I've been a member of the FOP my entire law enforcement career.
Oh, wow.
I've had the benefits. I've had, legal defense, insurance programs, all that stuff that the FOP provides. But I really didn't understand the true meaning of the FOP until I absolutely needed it. And about 15 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. And not realizing how that was going to impact my family, having to go to a place that I knew nothing about for treatments, away from home, it was definitely something that was going to be very difficult. But what I found out is what the FOP is really about, and that's fraternalism. The FOP was there. They brought my family to me. They were with me from the beginning to the end of my treatments. All the surgeries I had, they were right there with me, and it was because of the FOP that they were there. And so I've been indebted to the FOP ever since, and I truly understand how, over 100+ years ago, how the FOP was formed back in Pennsylvania over 100 years ago by two individuals.
1915.
1915. And how there's a reason why it's called the Fraternal Order of Police, and that's because of those brave men and women, out there who really, truly want to make a difference and help those who are in need. And I'm always going to be indebted to them.
Mm-hmm. And me as well. Kate, how long have you been president of the State Lodge?
So I've been president of the State Lodge for 6 years now, and the State Lodge is something that started about
1996.
Yeah, 1996. So about almost, a little over 25 years ago, and it's been growing ever since. I mean, it started with a handful of members, and now it's blossomed into about 3,600 members. So it's and just growing. There's agencies that want to be a part of the FOP. We are always contacted because of how we truly benefit, our brothers and sisters in this profession, and also how we deal with and work with our members of our community as well. And so it's something that people take notice and they want to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. I agree completely. And it's a giving back to the people that comes to our heart when we get involved. I know I missed being a cop when I retired, and unlike you, I wasn't FOP from the beginning. In fact, I was retired before I joined FOP, and I joined it basically because I missed police work and I missed that contact with the people. And you feel like you're contributing something to society. And I didn't want my retirement just to be vegetation. I wanted to do something. And so, I owe the FOP my new start on life after retirement. You go through it, you don't know yet, but you go through identity crisis when you retire because you're Marco the cop, and then all of a sudden you're Marco who. So it plays a part on you. Okay, the State Lodge. Does it have members of their own, or just a administration board, and all the members of the state of Washington belong to them? I don't think the people understand that. I'm not sure all the members do.
Yeah. So the way the FOP works, it started obviously from the national. So the National Lodge is our parent organization. And as part of the National Lodge, we have over 365,000 members nationwide, the absolute largest law enforcement organization, the largest, the oldest, the most respected law enforcement organization, not only in the country but in the world. And that's because of the success we've had for over 100 years. And because of the numbers that we have, there are state lodges in almost every state. There are a couple that still don't have a state lodge, but most of them do. And Washington is one of those. We have a state lodge, and as the state lodge, we charter what we call charter local lodges, that have members are attached to those local lodges since they're in that region or that area that they are serving, and then they are a part of the state and national lodge as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what can you tell me about the National Lodge?
So the National Lodge, it is an organization. Obviously, we talked about a little bit about how it started with fraternalism, right? So that's why it's called the Fraternal Order of Police. But it has morphed. We are considered the largest labor law enforcement organization in the country. Because we provide benefits to our members. We provide a voice to our members on law enforcement related issues. And National, obviously being the parent lodge, they work very, very hard in Washington, D.C. As a voice for public safety. They work with legislators, they work with media, they work with communities to make sure that there's a law enforcement perspective to talks on public safety. And that's needed more now than ever before. And the way, when I became president of the state lodge, I understood that, and as many of our executive board understands, that law enforcement, it's ever changing. There's always evolutions in our profession. And we have dealt with this evolution as of late, the last few years. And we saw that that was going to be something that we were going to have to deal with, several years ago. And the beauty of the FOP is that we are very much an organization that wants to work with everybody. We want to have we want to sit at those tables, even though they may be very difficult conversations with people, but we want to be there because having constructive conversations only leads to positive results, and that's something that we've always believed in. And because of that approach that we take, we have very good relations, not only with our community groups throughout the state, but we also have very good relationships with all of our legislators because they understand that the FOP is there to work on behalf of public safety.
And that brings to the next topic, legislators' approach.
Yeah. Again, our approach has always been that we want to be there, we want to have a seat at the table, we want to work with people. I remember about 5 years ago, we were dealing with I-940, which was a change in, the deadly force, laws that we were having to address. And understanding that our normal approaches, as cops, and I think maybe individuals, we don't like change. I think all individuals really have a hard time with change, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and so we understand that. And so even though we have difficulty with change, we understand that as an organization that we don't have that luxury of saying, hey, you know what, we're the experts here, you need to trust us. That's long and gone, okay? But being able to work and building bridges with people who have concerns about the way we do things and giving them a perspective of how we train and how we work it, whether it's community groups or legislators for that matter, it creates a dialogue of understand and creates understanding of what we do on a daily basis. And just that alone, whether we can agree or disagree on things, has created an atmosphere where they want to communicate with us.
Yeah, that's good because the best result is usually some sort of compromise because both sides are learning.
Exactly.
And both of them might be partly correct, but very seldom is one side completely correct. And so, through communication is strength and is positive growth. Exactly.
And again, in any profession, we see this in the medical profession. We see this in other professions as well, but even in law enforcement profession, we know that there's always going to be evolutions, that there's always going to be changes throughout the years. And maybe some years are those changes are more drastic, right, than others. But with that understanding, we have to be willing to evolve as well. And so nothing ever stays the same forever. We have to be able to evolve, and that's what we are striving to do on a daily basis.
Well, I think a lot of people are seeing it right now with changes that have occurred already. With every change, there's positive, but there's also negative. And so you have to adopt the situation, amend it or whatever, so that you can still have the positive change, but you can also get the results you want.
Yes.
And so with that being said, what's some of the effects on law enforcement right now with the way things sit?
What we are seeing, obviously, in the past couple of years is a definite, concern with recruitment and retention in our profession. Some of that might be as a result of different law changes, but also it could be a result of just not of just our overall atmosphere and the way, law enforcement can sometimes get a bad rap, right? We've seen it.
Well, on that point, when you have a shipyard worker that is a thief or is a serial killer or is a bad guy,
Yeah.
The news media presents it as you got this one bad guy there. The problem is when you have a police officer that's bad, it reflects back, it applies that maybe they're all bad. And, it's a fallacy that is not helping us at all.
It's not helping, and I think just based on statistics, the majority of our citizens agree that law enforcement is important and they support law enforcement. We see it might be more drastic that statistics in some areas, but even throughout the state, majority of our citizens believe in law enforcement. They want to feel safe in their homes.
Oh, I agree. I believe they do.
Yeah, and that's why being able to understand how we can evolve and how we adapt to new laws, because we'll always adapt. And that's what the beauty of our profession, because we're professionals, right? We're professional law enforcement officers. We take this job seriously.
And by being professionals, we try to weed out
we absolutely do. We try to weed them out because none of us in law enforcement wants a bad cop on the road.
Right.
No one wants that.
No one wants it.
No one will support a bad officer who does something. But we also have to recognize that 99.9% of our law enforcement professionals do things the right way every time. And because they take it seriously and they want to be able to have positive relationships with their community, and they want to be recognized as doing so.
I agree completely. Okay. We talked a little bit more on the strength of FOP.
So the strength, and what I love to point to is a lot of our success has to do with the way we unite as an organization from national down, because we do believe that the FOP is that one voice for law enforcement, that one true voice for law enforcement throughout east side of the country to the west side of the country. And it's our unique structure that allows us to unite the way it does. And we've seen it firsthand how just our work with the media, our work with we put a report out every month on our media impressions throughout the nation, and the FOP has been recognized as the number one by leaps and bounds, because they want our perspective, because they know that we are an organization that wants to work, that we want to provide a unique perspective. We're not just there to say no, but we're going to be there to try to find common ground and solutions to complex problems.
And I think that the majority of police departments, I don't know this as a fact, but I know that a lot of police departments are following that lead and putting out weekly, monthly newsletters to their troops and also to the public. Which, we go back to through communications comes strength. And I think, that's a good job the National has done, and it's trickling down to the local level in all law enforcement.
It does, and we've seen how the success on the national level. I sit on the marketing committee for the National Lodge, and we've seen how the success that we've had with throughout the nation and within the media and other areas that have been a positive thing for our growth. But it's trickled down to the state, as well. And in my position, being able to work with media outlets, work with our community partners, and our legislators, having those difficult conversations, but we're better for it. Being able to do that just shows how the strength that we have, because strength is also in numbers. And if we're still growing, which we are leaps and bounds, it's showing what we're doing is the way we're handling things is probably a good thing.
Oh, I think it is. And we're in Lodge 1 here in Kitsap County. We are grateful for Bremerton Kitsap Access TV for, putting this on for us and allowing us to have this program that we can reach the community and spread the positiveness that we're trying to change for the better for all people.
And that's the beauty, because the FOP, that's one part of it, right? But it's also then how we recognize and support our brothers and sisters in this profession. Recognizing those who have fallen in the line of duty, every year, which is something that we never want to happen. But the Fraternal Order of Police, it plays a huge role in putting on our National Police Week in May of every year, where we recognize those brave men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice, but also recognize the sacrifice of those families who no longer have their loved ones in their life. And being able to do that in Washington State, which is something that we are honored to do, we play a very integral role in that program, because not only do we help put on the memorial service, but we also host events. Just for Washington, we host events for honor guards, who are those units that go out there to give proper, services to those who have fallen. And so we've been very blessed having that, having that role that we play, and that National trusts us to do that. And it's been very, very important for us.
Well, good. I'm going to bring this up at the next convention. I brought it up at the last convention. We had 2 Bremerton officers shot in the line of duty, and we gave them and their family a certificate of recognition and an award, not for getting shot, but for their dedication and the trauma that they went through on that. And I think that's one deal, and I'm going to talk to our national president again about it too, that it's good honoring those that died, and it's good for the family. But I think for morale, we should honor those that get hurt in the line of duty more than we do. And that being said, you got any final thought? Because we're about running out of time.
Just to add on to that, the National Wellness Program is something that was created several years ago, and has been at the forefront of officer wellness, because people who get hurt and injured in the line of duty, once they're back, what are they still dealing with is the trauma, right? And so the National has been at the forefront of the officer wellness push from the beginning, and very grateful for that. But for my final comments, the FOP is there for whoever wants to be a part of it. You can be as involved as little or as much as you want in the FOP. But we always welcome those who want to be more involved in law enforcement to jump on board.
And that goes to the civilian population as well.
It goes to the civilian population.
Not just the police, but yeah, we need all the help we can get, and we'll receive you with open arms, anyone that wants to help us.
And there's a reason, again, why we are that one voice for this profession.
Okay. I thank you for your time, and thank you for traveling across the state just to be here for this show.
Hey, no problem. Anytime.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
And that ends our show, and we'll be back with another one down the road. Stay safe and have a good day.